Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm Tom Moore Jr. Did not watch the longest address ever last night. I got better things to do with my life. Hopefully none of you all did either. I did read about it a little bit as it was happening and then after the fact, and definitely not planning to go watch that. Taking a victory lap for his destruction of America, dividing Democrats and Republicans even further. No conciliatory action whatsoever, no attempt to heal, no attempt for I am the president for all Americans, none of that. Of course, there wasn't. Lots of good news, though. The Supreme Court 5-4 that U.S. aid $2 billion to contractors that was ordered by federal Judge Ali has to be paid. This is the thing that Chief Justice John Roberts, by himself, granted an extension on when the deadline came up a week ago, and the Republicans had done nothing. The Republican administration had done nothing to honor the order that these things had to be paid to these contractors who had already rendered their services. So 5-4, what does that tell us? Well, of course, Thomas and Alito are against it, and Kavanaugh against it, and then also Gorsuch. So I do think of the Trump appointees, Amy Coney Barrett is our best chance to do anything. Very pro-life, so a lot of people, women's right to choose and women's rights over their bodies will not ever like her or anything like that. I will say that she does consider things, and I do not expect her to roll over for Trump in the manner that Kavanaugh does. I remember the Kavanaugh proceedings for his confirmation to the Supreme Court, and you could just tell. I mean, reading about the guy, reading about his past, reading about what he did to women, his upbringing, his high school, you could just tell it's a bad guy. And then you could see the combativeness on his face, just how he would contort his face into this ugly, rage-filled something. You could just tell that that's not a good person. And I never expect him to come down on the side of what is right in these times. I do expect her to do so. I don't expect her to do anything positive related to women's rights to choose, women's rights over their bodies. If that's what you're looking for, I don't expect her to do anything but be the staunchest of pro-life advocates. But pro-unborn life. But on other matters, I do look to her to come down on the side of reason. I'm hopeful for that. And this 5-4 decision bears that out. Because there is tremendous pressure on her from Trump's people directly because he appointed her. So you can imagine they are not shy about twisting arms. And she just went directly against Trump's administration in this ruling, hoping for more of that. That's a huge thing, I think. And if you're just looking at the 5-4, I think you're missing the bigger picture. I think her being one of the five is pretty huge. And Chief Justice John Roberts also. Now, they did send it back down to Judge Ali to figure it out again when and how these payments are going to be made, which the judge had already done. So got to do that over again. But that's a good sign there. And then on the Ukraine front, Trump has paused all aid. This morning, he said we're not providing intelligence anymore to Ukraine either. This is all 100% pro-Putin, pro-Russia. There, again, need not be any more evidence to back up the fact that he is aligned with Putin. He is part of the axis of evil there. Russia continues to destroy the country, continues to murder people, civilians. So that's going to continue. As far as Canada, I saw a thing. I'm getting a lot of good information from Blue Sky. I know I tell you guys this a lot, but seeing the kind of stuff I used to see on Twitter just before it got taken over, just good information, like insights onto judicial rulings or a front page of what was called the English paper of record in Canada. This morning, Trudeau had really strong words yesterday about how Canada has been there through everything, wars, world wars, 9/11, just everything. They're always there for us, and Trump is very much trying to weaken them and trying to basically have a land grab, a resource grab, Putin style. Same with Greenland. And remember, Greenland's owned by Denmark. So I don't know how that would happen. Obviously, I don't know how Canada is going to happen. But the front page of the Canadian newspaper was just blank, and it was a pretty powerful front page that just said, the Globe and Mail, strong and free, just their red masthead, I think it's called, and then the whole blank, the whole unfolded newspaper, strong and free. That's it, on a bunch of white space. And down at the bottom, some news points. Canadians unite to oppose Trump's trade war. Canada-U.S. trade is forever changed. Business leaders say Trump has killed what made America great. Now is the time to show that we are unafraid. And at the very bottom, Europe moves to fill void in defense spending with plan to help Ukraine. Canada is not backing down, and I would not want them to. It's weird rooting against my own country. I'm not rooting against my country, though. I'm rooting against a dictator and someone who is doing his very best to unmake my country. I've mentioned the star player that the Dallas Mavericks basketball team traded, Luka Doncic. He's just killing it with his new team, the LA Lakers, and our team is just in disarray, ravaged by injury. It's the comparison was that the Dallas Mavericks are the Donald Trump of the NBA, just doing horrible moves and then having horrible things happen to them. I don't know really what to say about that. It's weird. I think the Lakers were probably my most hated rival for the Mavericks, but every day that they have a game, which is basically every other day, I go to ESPN and I look up the Lakers games. I look up the stats, and it's always pictures of Luka Doncic, what an amazing game he had, the winning streak they're on, and I'm just rooting for them. And with the Mavericks, it's just hard to root for an entity, and this is the same with the Dallas Cowboys, whose ownership or leadership you just really despise. And it's just even weirder when it's your own country. Of course, I root for America to be good and to do good, but I'm rooting for Europe, and I'm rooting for Canada, and I'm rooting for Ukraine to stand up against all bullies, even when that bully is the United States. I'm not saying I want these countries to take over America, but I want them to stand up in the face of all bullies, of all threats. And right now, I would say the United States is a bigger threat to these allies of ours than Russia, because Russia is a shell of its former self. It's completely impotent economically. It has decimated its own army and arsenal of weaponry in this 3-year Ukraine war. They do not pose the threat that the United States does right now on an economic front. And then when Donald Trump turns even more aggressive and starts taking things, I would think that Canada and Europe are more afraid right now of the United States, of Donald Trump, than they are of a very much defanged Vladimir Putin. I'm not over there. I'm not in those countries. But from where I sit, I see Donald Trump as a much more threatening presence to them than I do Vladimir Putin. Vladimir Putin's occupied in Ukraine. He even had to pull out of supporting the Syrian dictatorship to focus more on Ukraine. So if he can't spare some people in Syria to help prop up that dictatorship and a crucial ally there in the Middle East, then how is he going to roll into Poland or Finland? I don't see it. Doesn't mean he won't try, but I just don't see him being able to muster anything. Donald Trump is another story. I don't know. That's more concerning to me. Anyway, hopefully you all did not get a chance to watch that last night, whatever it was, and will not give him any airtime. And I hope you all have a great day today. We'll talk later.